Yo, what up, friends? Prayers up. Thank God for Pope Francis being back to his Vatican apartment after a 5-week stay at the hospital for a double pneumonia. Y'all didn't hear that. Admitted on Valentine's Day for a respiratory infection, which rapidly worsened. He needed regular ventilation, blood transfusions, and several other procedures. Pope Francis will now begin the 2-month convalescence after 2 nearly fatal episodes in the hospital. We will know that he is not going to get back to where he was before. He worked a grueling schedule as the Pope before he started to get sick, so we're not going to be able to expect that he gets back to that. And this was the longest hospitalization for a Pope, and his second. It was a 38-day, and that's second behind Pope John Paul II's 1981 55-day stay. Observers said his speech sounded thin and he looked a little frail, so we will continue to pray for Pope Francis and hope that he can ride this out as best as possible. Moving on, I know this is not the sports version, but we're going to update you on a little sports anyways. Thank you to my producer again. Good picture. Beautiful, beautiful. So we'll move it on to I know it's not sports today, but I got to give y'all some horrible, horrible sports news. And look, y'all know if y'all watch this program, you know I am a diehard UCLA Bruins fan. FUSC Trojan condoms. We do not like them on this program. That being said, prayers up to University of Southern California's superstar, Juju Watkins. I never thought in my life I would ever care about a Trojan, about an FUSC alumni or current member, as I despise that school with all of my heart. But honestly, I really like Juju Watkins. She is an amazing superstar basketball player. She's a killer on the court. She seems really friendly, really nice. I can't wait to meet her in the future. And one of the worst things that can happen to an athlete happened to her last night in the Trojans' blowout victory of Mississippi State, 96-59. Unfortunately, it was not intentional, but a young lady from Mississippi State fouled Juju Watkins, who was going towards the hoop to do a layup. When she fouled her, it was kind of a side block with like the arm as they were running side by side, and it pushed Juju, whose knee buckled to the right. As a member of the torn ACL club, not once but multiple times, I unfortunately knew right away that something bad had gone on, because I've been in that same situation, and there's no way you go down with that much pain unless something's torn. Again, I know because I felt that same exact pain before, and it was one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my whole entire life. So, again, never thought I'd care about someone from FUSC, a Trojan condom, but prayers up to Juju. I'm wishing you the best. You're a superstar. Average 25, 7, and 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Just an all-around beast. Don't know what this is going to do for her prospects for the WNBA, because with NIL now she could stay in college, nurse her injury back to health, and then go. But also she could forego that, get the WNBA paycheck, and a team would definitely still draft her and put her on the bench and let her have a redshirt year, as it's going to take at least 9 months to come back from a torn ACL. So we'll keep you updated on her progress over the next year and whether she decides to stay in college or go pro. But either way, we wish the best and full healthy recovery to Juju Watkins. There are remaining stars after the Sweet 16, or after we found out who will make the Sweet 16 on the women's side. You still got UConn and Paige Beckers, Aziz Fudd, the freshman Sarah Strong. You still got LSU, the Tigers, Flau'jae Johnson. You still got South Carolina, Chloe Kitts, who should be a first-round pick in the WNBA. And again, please do not forget about my UCLA Bruins, the best player in the country, Lauren Betts, and DMV's own Sidwell friends. Shout out in the DMV. Kiki Rice. They're going to win the championship. Check out my limerick I did. A minute short video on YouTube. It's pretty funny. I think you will enjoy it. All right. Ooh, salute. Thank you, my brother. Salute to Skywalker Boxing Media. Y'all make sure you tap in with them. They are my partner in all things boxing. They are the ones that I partner with when I go cover Country Box here in Nashville, which will be next week. Oliver McCall back in the building. So I'll be there to cover the fight since I'm back in town now. So salute. Y'all make sure you tap in with them. And as well, Country Box. Salute to Country Box again next Tuesday, every month or once a month, the first Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I appreciate you, brother. Hey, you know, the other sports shows I can look a little laid back, right? Because that's more of a relaxed, casual show. But this is my serious media personality show, so I must dress as someone on professional TV would. Put them shoulders back. Let them know who I am, brother. Salute. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man, for real. Y'all tap in with them. All right, cool. Let's keep it moving. That was the introduction. Now it is time to move into entertainment. And again, entertainment, make sure you tap in. Banter, Brawls, Bravado, Thursday, 8 p.m. Clubber D to Combat G, MLB Insider Mike Wiebe, yours truly, the sports professor, and super special guest, comedian Bajuan Malave. We will be going all out on Thursday at 8 p.m. So y'all make sure you definitely tap in for that. All right, moving on to the entertainment world. Let's see what's popping. First of all, as we mentioned, Banter, Brawls, and Bravado, we will be updating you on the Sean Diddy Combs case. And the latest update comes in the forms of new charges that Sean Diddy Combs has pled not guilty to. These charges are related to alleged forced labor of past employees. And now these charges will be stacked on top of the racketeering and sex crime charges that Diddy already faces. We will update you more and give you our opinions Thursday night at 8 p.m. Banter, Brawls, and Bravado. Moving on, Othello, the play, not a movie, but the Broadway play starring Denzel Washington. Pause on all accounts, but I love me some Denzel. He may be my number 2 favorite actor now. He was always number 3 because my favorite actor will always and forever be Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman will always and forever be my favorite actor. Love me some Morgan Freeman. All the way back to Shawshank Redemption, which is a tremendous, tremendous film. But also my second favorite actor for a very, very long time there was Johnny Depp. And that started because of the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas movie that me and my best friend, rest in power, JT, we miss you. We used to watch that movie together. He's the one that put me on. But what a great movie. And so I loved Johnny Depp for so long until he started making all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And then he kind of fell off. And so since then, Denzel's catalog is nearly impeccable. There's some other people out there that have some similar catalogs in terms of not only quality but quantity of movies. But Denzel Washington is definitely up there, and he's probably my second favorite. No, you know what? Yeah, I would have to put him up there. It would have to be Denzel. I was thinking Tom Hanks because Tom Hanks was always my number 4, but he just doesn't do many movies anymore. So I can't really say that. Anyways, Denzel Washington, Jake Gyllenhaal are starring in the Othello play. Get this, y'all. Seats are going for an average of $921 according to the New York Times. So if you want to go see Denzel and Jake Gyllenhaal for one night in an Othello play in New York, you better get that next paycheck out for some of you dusty bunnies that don't make enough money. Y'all know who you are. You might not even be able to afford the next play we're going to talk about. Bums. Get like me, be lucky, or be dusty, as we say. Shout out Clubber D. But the other play I want to tell you about, Good Night and Good Luck, featuring George Clooney. I'm just going to take these off because I don't really need them anymore because I know the sound is working. And that's just bothering me. So anyways, Good Night and Good Luck featuring George Clooney. Average price of $303.75. Or if you want to see Glenn Ross starring Bill Burr, Kieran Culkin, and Bob Odenkirk from Better Call Saul, then you're gonna fish out for one show, $207. Wowzers. Lots of money for a play. I will tell you, I'm not much of a play person. I have been to 3 plays in my life. 2 of them have been with my wonderful producer. Love her very much. We went to a couple plays in the DMV there. I can't even remember what they were. I'm sure she may remember. The one play I do distinctly remember it going to was in college. So at the University of Maryland, one of my absolute favorite classes that I took. And I didn't think I was going to like this class. And honestly, I wouldn't even have taken the class except that I signed up for some of my electives too late because I was waiting on marketing electives and business electives that I wanted to take. But by the time I had got registered at the university, I wasn't able to get the electives that I wanted in time. So I had to shift. Ended up, I had 2 choices my freshman year at University of Maryland. I could either take 2 choices are tremendous. Drama was one of my choices, and dance was my other choice. Now, I'm a pretty good dancer. Takes a lot to get me to dance. It's going to take a few drinks because I don't know. I just don't really like dancing in front of people or dancing really at all, unless I have a little bit of power boost behind me, so to call it. But you get a couple in me, I might start dancing a little bit. And I think I'm a pretty good dancer. I ain't got 2 left feet or nothing now. I know many people watching this stream can attest that I'm no Ricky Ricardo. I'm no Usher. No Casanova. I am a Casanova. Ain't no Usher, but I can dance a little bit. I can groove. Me and shout out Boy Wonder the Incredible. We used to go out in college and dance with all the ladies at the club every night, and it was a great time. Not every night, but most nights. Anyways, moving on. So I had drama or dance were my 2 choices. And well, hey, shout out my brother T-Roy turning in. What's up, brother? Thank you, my friend. You got to see it. Once we get in somewhere not a sports bar related, you'll definitely see it. But also make sure, hey, tap in with us for Thursday. We're going to be there, me and Clubber D. But anyways, thank you for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you like that. Hit that like button if you're watching and if you like this story. So the reason I even thought about going to dance is obviously, why do you think? I mean, look, I have no problem with any choices that any people make in your life. You all choose what you want to do. You love who you want to love. I support your choices no matter what that choice is, as long as it's legal. Now, if you're doing something with animals or anything else, you probably don't want to go down those alleys. But I'm a heterosexual male. Why would I choose dance? Because the majority of the people in there were going to be females of the female persuasion. So I was like, I could just go do dance and just talk to all the girls all day. But I decided against it. I decided that I would try to actually do something that would give me more knowledge, would generate more thought and critical thinking, and would allow me to actually harness my intelligence for my college education. Although now looking back on it, it was my freshman year and I probably really should have wasted that elective on dance. Now that I look back on it right now, as I'm telling this story, I really regret not doing dance. But I can't say that because drama was one of the best classes I ever took. I wish I remember my professor's name. and I am so sorry that I forget his name. I can see his face, white hair, white guy, chubbier face, but he was so cool. He was so awesome of a professor. And he taught me so much in drama in that class that I never thought I would like because I didn't care about plays. I read, but I read more books that I like. I wasn't reading like plays and scripts and things like that. And I didn't want to get up in front of the class and try to perform or do anything like that, all of which you had to do in this class, as well as go attend plays in person and then write about them. So, oh, that's right. No, we had to do 2 plays, not 1. 2. No. Yeah, it was 2. Okay. So the other good reason I like drama was because I met my roommate in that class. So when I moved to college, I moved there and I moved into an apartment in, shout out to the ghettos of Hyattsville, Maryland. But I lived in the ghettos of Hyattsville, Maryland, and it was a year, let me tell you that. Not only just because of where I lived, but also not that I'm not used to living anywhere like those places anyways. It's not like that's the first time, but there's some crazy things happened every day there. But also because my ex, who I had moved there with, we ended up having a falling out. We won't even talk about the Wolverine couch situation, which is a whole nother damn story. But anyways, I needed a roommate at that point in time after my freshman year. And luckily I met, shout out my boy, Rob Akbarian, my brother. I miss you. I love you. I haven't talked to him in a few months. Actually, I talked to him in December for Christmas. But anyways, hope you're doing well. Me and him met in drama. That first day, we ended up like, I don't remember if it was he saw me or I saw him, but it was like what seat open. I think I might have saw him. I was like, hey, he looks cool. So I just sat down like next to him and we just started chopping it up. We instantly became friends, decided that we were going to get a house together next year, got a house, got some roommates. Shout out to all my other roommates. I'm not going to put their governments out here, but 3 other cool roommates that, I really have a deep affection for. But anyways, so to finish this story, now that I've been talking about this forever, I ended up taking drama, and that was one of the only plays that I've been to, is because Rob and I went to the plays that we had to go to, and right, because it was like, all right, well, we know each other, we're going to be roommates, we might as well do this together. So Rob, let me tell you this hilarious story. So Rob and I, right, Rob is a Middle Eastern guy. He's probably he's not probably. He's a but I'm Hispanic, right? So 2 brown guys. We're both in college. We're both pretty broke college kids at this point in time, working minimum wage jobs. He worked at the mechanic shop. I worked at Hard Times Cafe, slopping out spaghetti and chili and shit. Anyways, so we're 2 broke college kids. We tried to put on some slacks and a shirt or something, like we knew what we was doing. Walked up in there. Look, I love all of my Caucasian brethren, all right? But let's just be honest. The whole crowd was mostly Caucasians, mostly white people. We're not going to lie on this show. We're just going to be mostly honest with it. It was a Shakespeare play. So actually, what was it? It was King Lear. King Lear was the play. And actually, I really enjoyed it. I super enjoyed the play. I never said this before out loud, but I really enjoyed it. And because me and Rob just had the best time, people watching and then wondering what all of the Caucasian folks were saying about 2 brown kids in a play that they probably had no reason being at whatsoever. And so their stereotyping, their judgments would have been warranted. I didn't think we should have been there either. But we had a class project. We didn't have a choice. So it was like, we got to write this paper. Anyways, hilarious story. Thank y'all for letting me share that, because I just took 20 minutes of a news show to talk about that, but I figured that did fit in really well. And somebody liked it. Morning Wombat. Yes, appreciate you. Morning Wombat, always tuning in. Loyal viewer of Ball and Buds. Salute, my friend. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm trying to do my best, man. I'm trying to live to those standards you keep me to. So hold me to it, brother. And give me some comments in here once I start getting into the news headlines. One more thing. Actually, you might have something on this. One more thing. Disney released Snow White And the new live action Snow White brought in $43 million the opening weekend, which is pretty low for Disney's standards. Why? What kind of controversies did we have along the way? Well, the main controversy, and no one can act like this was not an issue, because when the movie trailer was released and they found out Rachel Zegler would be the one playing Snow White, and she is Colombian, part Colombian, there was an uproar. Oh no. How can a minority play Snow White? Snow White needs to be a white person. Snow White needs to be a white girl. Just like they all complained about Little Mermaid becoming black, right? And these are the same. Look, I'm not going to cast any aspersions on this show. What I will say is, if that you have so much of a problem with the movie because of the ethnic or racial makeup of the character who is playing one of the characters, you have a bigger problem than you realize. And you need to check yourself instead of checking what they're doing. Now, I get it. It goes along with the whole conservative agenda of woke and the DEI and all that. I get it. I understand where the conservative side is on it. I understand where the liberal side is on it. But the fact is, it shouldn't matter. It's a movie. Who the hell cares? Movies are made to have characters that are anything from people to animals, from blue to freaking green. So who the hell cares if she's a little brown and she's playing Snow White? Irregardless, and yes, irregardless is a word, and if anybody out there wants to battle me on that, I have a long conversation for you, and it will include Webster's Dictionary and Oxford. So what other controversies? Well, also co-star Gal Gadot, who played the evil queen, have publicly been on opposite sides of the Israel-Hamas war on the Gaza Strip. So also, you look at the Seven Dwarves, it wasn't them being live action, more CGI-ish. Plus, I mean, this has nothing to do with this. This is just my personal opinion. I don't like these live action movies. I don't care for them at all. I didn't like the Lion King one. Just keep them cartoons. They were fine as cartoons. Why did you have to go change them to live action? You think it makes them look better because they're people? Because it really doesn't. But anyways, that's just me. I think it was the Avatar, and I never liked Avatar. So sue me, but I didn't like that movie either. That movie sucked and was long. What a horrible movie. Anybody who likes Avatar, get out of here. Left. Okay, I'm being a little overzealous there. Anyways, so we'll see what happens, but obviously Disney did not make as much as they thought they were going to make on this movie, just like a couple of weeks ago when, and again, this is another one here, and this is one of my favorite characters, so I have to say something here, because if y'all are loyal viewers of this show, you know that Paddington the Bear was never from the United Kingdom. Paddington the Bear is Peruvian. Paddington the Bear was born in Peru, in South America. Paddington the Bear immigrated to the United Kingdom. So when Paddington in Peru came out, the trailer, and people are up in arms, oh my, how can you have Paddington in Peru? He should be in the United Kingdom with the rain and the galoshes and the suit and this and that. Stop being a dummy, do your research, find out that Paddington was originally from Peru, so he's probably just going back to visit his family that he was stolen from. I don't know that that's true, the stolen part, but it sounds like a good part to add to the movie for more drama. That being said, I am going to see Paddington because I love Paddington. Moving on into our United States news for the week. Wowzers. Do we have some stuff to talk about today, y'all? Oh no. Y'all know where I'm going. You've watched the news today. You watched the news last night. I mean, unless you live under a rock, you know what's happened within the past 24 hours. You also know, if you watch this show, Yes, we love Paddington. That is correct. My producer, shout out. You watch this show, you know how imperative informational security, when it comes especially to national security of the United States, how important that is to me personally. We don't need to get into why that is, but there's many reasons that is important to me and important to safeguarding not only the lives of service members and veterans and civilians and contractors working with our armed forces. All of these things, uber important. But those are not the only things that you risk. When you put national security information that is classified on an unclassified platform. What happened? Y'all, this is going to get deep, so stay with me here for a second while I give the description of everything that has happened in the past 24 hours that we found out, and then I will give you my professional opinion on this, and it is a professional one. The journalist that was accidentally included in a secret war planning chat, Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg was mistakenly included in a conversation among top United States officials where they planned and debated military strikes on the Houthi rebels in Yemen on the encrypted messaging app Signal. Now, yes, I did include the word encrypted there, and that will come in handy in a little bit. The National Security Council, as described by Goldberg, included the Secretary of Defense, newly nominated and maligned by yours truly for not having enough experience. We'll get into that in a second. Pete Hegseth, as well as Vice President J.D. Vance, as well as another maligned cabinet member that I said had not the proper, not that she didn't have the proper experience, because she did have the experience, but rather may not have had the proper relationships or ties, or may have had some liabilities. Irregardless, allegedly, U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz mistakenly included this journalist, Jeffrey Goldberg, in the chat. I mean, that's red flag number one, right? Red flag number one is when your national security advisor cannot properly put together an email, a chat, a note, something without including the wrong people in it. That's red flag number one. Like, geez, that's the most basic of mistakes that should not be made. Well, I digress. Let's move on. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared details of military plans to be used against the Yemen Houthi rebels within this chain that was led on this Signal app. The chain included, and as we know of now, and I obviously will give you all of the information as we get it, and you know I only give you the correct researched information. What we know right now, because Jeffrey Goldberg is a stand-up human being and not someone out to just get people. That's where I don't get where the conservatives are coming from, saying that he was trying to get them, because he could have really got them if he just released all the information. He didn't. He redacted anything he thought was important enough that could be classified, because he knew that classified information should not be let out. We'll get to that in just a second. Then, after it all came out, Pete Hegseth went on to deny the report, even though it had already been called authentic by the National Security Council, and went on to blame the journalist, which is just, I mean, why do politicians especially continue to do this trick? Like, we know what came out. We already heard the information. You can't say it didn't happen when we already know it's verified. Like, and I know you just got off a plane, but you got to be advised of that. Come on now, before you talk. Anyways, he was probably getting ready for his Hawaiian vacation, so that is what it is. Hegseth dismissed the report as deceitful and highly discredited and denied sharing war plans. Goldberg reported the chat contained detailed operational plans for upcoming strikes against the Houthi rebels in Yemen. He says when he was added to the chat, it was 2 hours before when these were being discussed. 2 hours later, he actually saw the bombs drop. He actually found out it was real and knew that he was in a real chat because he had thought the whole time that it was a joke or a scam. He didn't even realize that it was a real chat until the bombs actually dropped. This information reportedly included targets, weaponry, and attack sequencing. While the classification remains unclear, because he did redact what he thought was classified, so we still don't technically know what was in there, I can assume if the journalist probably thought it was highly classified enough and he has no clue, I'm pretty sure it might have been classified because most things in war planning are going to be classified. Take that from me. Anyways, what happens though is this truly sacrifices operational security and the safety of our military, armed forces, veterans, contractors, civilians across the world. Any type of this information gets out to China, Russia, North Korea. And if you think they're not on the Signal app, you're tripping and you need to check it because they are definitely on that app, just like most countries are. Now, let's play a little advocate here. It was said that, you know what? A little more information first before we get into my professional opinion about this. The U.S. has been conducting airstrikes, by the way, since November of 2023. So as Joe Biden was leaving office, he actually had already dropped an attack on the Yemen Houthi rebels who have been doing this for over a year, and they needed to be attacked. So first of all, let me, before I even get into any more, completely acknowledge the validity and necessity of the strikes on the Houthi rebels because they were very much so disrupting shipping lanes, which affects not only logistics, which affects not only how we get our products from across the world, but also was affecting other countries in Europe. And so got it. Needed to be attacked, was already being attacked before Trump even came into office. So not even going to say Trump and the Trump administration is wrong for launching this attack. Totally warranted. The issue is when you then decide to talk about these things in an app that, although encrypted, which it is, it's not classified and it's not encrypted enough to have classified information on it. There is a different level of encryption that happens between classified servers and platforms and classified servers and platforms. Not going to get into it. You can Google whatever you need to Google. That is the bigger issue here. Why, as I thought I turned my ringer off, ESPN is telling me something happened. I apologize. And it looks like, let's give you an update. Damian Lillard of the Milwaukee Bucks has developed deep vein thrombosis in his right calf, out indefinitely. Wow, prayers up to Damian Lillard. He's actually dealing with the same thing that now Joel Embiid just went out with. And also, I have somebody very close to me dealing with deep vein thrombosis at this very moment. So y'all make sure you get your veins checked out. Make sure that blood is flowing properly, right? Let me see. Mike Weeby says, we act like that. We used to call them dick riders, but things done changed. Ain't that the truth? You are completely right, my brother. Again, thank you for coming on yesterday. I wish my video looked like this yesterday rather than what it did, but I still appreciate you. And yes, we would call them dick riders, a faux show. All right. But anyways, and again, I don't care about President Trump claiming ignorance. Maybe somehow no one told him. I highly, highly cannot believe that. But maybe they did. Maybe for some reason in the time-space continuum, no one decided to update the president on what happened. Fine. Again, I highly doubt that, but let's just say that he didn't know. The problem doesn't really have to do with him or if he knew. The problem has to do with conversations that should be taking place in a SCIF, which is a sensitive compartmented information facility, which is where classified information is supposed to be discussed, held, stored, and otherwise handled. You do not take those discussions outside of the SCIF facility. Now, I spoke because I have some contacts in this story, some sources close to this story. So I reached out and I asked the questions. I asked, okay, how much of this was classified? The answer was not all of it, but why does that really matter? And you should know that. And the you should know that is what really hit me, because when you sign up for this sort of thing, when you are put into a position as a military member, as a civilian, as a contractor, and you get a security clearance, your main job, forget job, the whole purpose of your life at that point in time, from when you wake up to when you go to sleep, from when you get your clearance to when you're to the day that you die. There is no expiration of a clearance, by the way. There might be an expiration of a clearance, but you still better hold those secrets till you die, because that's how important that information is. And when you take it to an unclassified platform, you risk that information getting out to our enemies. And that is completely, utterly unfathomable and unacceptable. People, they said there's going to be an investigation. President Trump said, I don't believe that. I don't think there will be an investigation, or it'll just be swept under the rug. But you can guarantee that if this had happened while, and again, I'm not a liberal or a conservative. I hate all politicians. If you watch this show, you know that. I think they're all liars, scums, and cheaters. Lies, cheats, and scum. Woo! Shout out my boy Francis Long. So I hate both sides of the aisles. I think all parties are stupid. I just come here to give you the neutral point of view. But had that happened when Joe Biden was in office, Donald Trump would have been the first person to say something. And so if he doesn't hold his own people to the account, this is going to look very bad if it's swept under the rug, which I'm sure it will be somehow, some way. He never gets caught for any of the things that he does, but that's neither here nor there on this program. Again, I'm not here to judge. Another problem, and I told y'all before he got confirmed, Pete Hegseth was wholly and fully unqualified to be the Secretary of Defense. Not only had he not been in the military for years and was working as a Fox News host, but even when he was in the military, he didn't head up any departments. He didn't head the Pentagon. He didn't head the Department of Defense. He didn't head any of these organizations that would belie to you the experience necessary to run an organization like the Department of Defense, which includes the military, which includes the Pentagon, which includes all the other things that come with that. No, I said he was unqualified, fully, wholly unqualified. And he has proven it with this amateur, like toddler move. I just don't understand how you would even, any logical, normal human being with half a brain could see that this was the wrong thing to do. But just admitting the mistake, well, granted, at least they've come out now after they were called out on it and then later admitted that they made the mistake. But the problem is that this should never happen in the first place. And when you have someone that's starting the chat that doesn't have the experience necessary and wouldn't even know where he should have a classified chat at versus where he shouldn't, this is what you get. Anyways, so we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated on this, but this is definitely a stunning, and just absolutely horrifying breach of national security intelligence. And I don't care that nothing came out of it. I don't care that, well, I do care, and I'm very happy that no soldiers or civilians or contractors or U.S. personnel were hurt. I'm very happy for that. Thank God. Just someone needs to be charged. Actions needs to be taken swiftly. Someone needs to be chopped off at the head for this, not literally. So don't go running and saying, I'm telling you to kill anybody. I believe either Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who probably, since he's the unexperienced one here, most unexperienced, should be the one to go. But Mike Walls probably needs to have some comeuppance, because it would probably never come out had he not made that mistake. Now, that's not good either. We shouldn't look at it like that. We should look at, just because he put it out there. That's not the way to look at it. No, the way to look at it is, why did this ever happen? And why would anyone think it's okay in the first place? It's not okay. No one would be able to come on this show right now and argue with me that there would be any reason that would even be okay, no matter even if it was installed on the government computers, because they tell you when you get that security clearance and when you're dealing with classified information, not to use it on any unclassified platforms. And Signal is an unclassified platform. There's nothing else to it. It's black and white. It's not political. It is a black and white issue. And even more rich about this is that just a couple weeks ago, Pete Hegseth was talking about how personnel in the Pentagon needed to be subject to new polygraph tests and other things because of alleged leaks from the Pentagon. So that's really rich coming from him now that this has happened. And as well, Tulsi Gabbard, who on her X account just a couple weeks ago said that anyone who releases classified information should be punished to the fullest extent. Pretty sure she didn't feel that way today when she was in Congress saying, I don't recall anything. President Trump has dubbed Liberation Day for the economy. Countries that buy oil from Venezuela will have to pay an additional 25% tariff on trades. Now, if we go back to the tariffs that I talked about at the beginning, you will remember that and my producer wanted me to correct this, but you will remember when I talked about the tariffs at first, I said that President Trump should use the tariffs in positions of power. Now, when that was said, it was taken to mean by some people that I meant doing that against all countries, like Canada, like Mexico, our neighbors, stuff like that. But I did not mean doing it with those people. What I was referring to was doing it against our enemies. And this is one of those times when that political pressure, when those tariffs need to be put into place, is to use that power to force other countries to do things that we need them to do, like take criminals out of our country. So this would be one of the times that I would agree on the tariffs that are being used, and this will also cause other countries to also respect the law of having criminals infiltrating the country. So anyways, we will see what happens with that. We'll keep you updated here on that. But they did try to deport the Venezuelan gang members due to a 1798 Alien Enemies Act, which a judge actually in the middle of the flights to Venezuela told them to stop. They defied the orders and kept sending the planes. All of the gang members are now in Venezuelan jails that, by the way, the U.S. is actually paying for. We are paying them to house their own criminals. So, yes, thank you. I appreciate you letting me know, producer, that we're doing good. I'm going to wrap it up anyways. It looks like in that moment of lost audio, everybody dipped out. So not really much more point in me continuing. I'm getting a little tired anyways of talking. So I'm going to wrap this up. Let's see. We'll save that till next week. We'll save that till next week. All right, world news. Moving into world news. First of all, we're going to update you here on the Ukraine-Russian war and as well the Israel and Hamas ceasefire. So let me get my banner up here. Boom. There we go. Cool. So anyways, updating you, Ukraine-Russia talks continue this week in Saudi Arabia. U.S. officials are meeting with both sides, hoping to reach a deal by April 20th. 420 for all my small guys. Anyways, talks with Ukraine were held yesterday evening, while talks with Russia will be held today. Discussions are focusing on the safety of the shipping in the Black Sea and temporarily protecting energy facilities and critical infrastructure from attacks. Russia and Ukraine agree on the latter, but details still need to be decided on. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is aiming for a 30-day ceasefire to allow time for negotiations on a permanent truce. Ukraine previously accepted a 30-day ceasefire proposal, but Russian President Vladimir Putin declined to endorse it. Russian demands for any agreement include an end of arms supplies to Ukraine from the U.S., which obviously Ukraine is going to reject. These talks come after Russia and Ukraine traded drone attacks over the weekend. So we'll keep you updated as always and see what happens there. In Israel, new airstrikes in Gaza's southern city of Khan Yunis killed Hamas political leader Salah Baldawil. The Gaza death toll has now passed 50,000 and this is by the Hamas-run, which is the terrorist organization, the Hamas-run health ministry. Israeli strikes in Lebanon as well, after the terrorist group Hezbollah fired rockets on Israel, geez Louise, and exchanges the worst violence since November. Other news, South Korean court overturns the impeachment of Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, and he has now been reinstated as president. You will know that's an update to a story we brought up on this show a few months back when he was first ousted as the president when he tried to attempt to use the military force to keep himself in office. He was then later impeached, but has now been brought back by a South Korean court who has now disregarded that impeachment. All right, everything else seems to not be important enough to continue to talk about today. So all the other news I had for you, which was probably about 30 more minutes, that will move to next week, which will give me less research I have to do for next week. So that works out fine. That being said, make sure you are subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS on YouTube. There's a handy QR code up at the top. Go ahead and use that bad boy to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, and all the rest of it. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, The Bottom Line Sports. Please make sure you join our Facebook group at The Bottom Line Sports. Again, The Bottom Line Sports Facebook group if you like sports news and trash talk group. Tomorrow night, myself, Canteen, and Hot Take Jake will be together again to give you your weekly dose of sports news, updates, and all-around hilariousness. We will also have a guest with us tomorrow. I have not figured out who that guest will be yet, but I will secure a guest this evening. And finally, do not forget Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern as well, on Ball and Buds. You will have banter, brawls, and bravado, our pop culture trash talking show where you will have Clubber D the Combat G, Mike Wiebe, comedian Bajuan Malave, and yours truly, the Street Professor. And we will go to town on all types of issues, including Diddy, including the Hawk Chua girl, including LeBron and Stephen A., including Fox Sports, including the government, and including all types of other topics that we want to rail on and talk a bunch of trash about. So tune in for that, but do make sure if you have kids or if you don't like explicit language, be very, very forewarned that this is a extreme parental advisory consent, that you do not want to tune in Thursday night if you do not like foul language, or what some people consider foul language, what I consider to be perfectly fine, because they weren't foul language before someone decided that these were. Actually, let me give you all a quick fun fact before we leave for the day. The word shit, which people now use to mean using the bathroom or whatever, or kind of other context you want to use it in, the word shit actually was not used in that context. It originally, and still to this day, means in logistics, in transportation, it means shipping high in transit. And what that means, and I know this because I took business, international business in college, and they taught us this. Shout out my international business professor for this great knowledge. But what happens is when ships take cargo across the sea, they ship the most important and valuable goods as high as possible on the crates. And that's why it's called shipping high in transit. So shit was never a vulgar word before someone decided to use it in a context that could be used to be vulgar. But instead, this whole entire time, it's truly just an acronym, which means in cargo ships, logistics, transportation, shipping high in transit. And that's why you come here, because I am the professor, because you will get this excellent knowledge from your boy. So as always, I appreciate all y'all tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to Ballin' Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Make sure you're kind to each other. Have a blessed and successful week. I know I will.
Subscribe on YouTube at Ballin' Buds for sports and entertainment live stream.